stone. Oh, but when I reach that ground, I'll share this peace of mind I found. I can feel it in my bones, but it's gonna take a little time for me to set that parking brake and let myself unwind. Shine that light on me.
What's up, all you big timers out there? This is the Big Time Podcast, episode number 3. We got a big time week of wrestling to recap, as a lot of crap went down, man, and we're gonna run through that. But first off, I got a big time guest, Mr. How do you say your last name?
It's Reick.
Rick, okay.
Yeah.
I've never claimed to be a professional podcast. I should have asked that before. But I got David, big time Rick in the building. Dave, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Bro, hell yeah. Can't wait to do it.
Yeah, man. So thank you, dude. Well, first off, we're going to start our little recap here. Raw 30, last Monday. Both of us were there live in different parts of the arena. And what'd you think of that overall card? Just some thoughts being there live at Wells Fargo.
It was definitely, I feel like, I got the tickets a little in advance just because I was like, well, Raw's 30 sounds special. If it's any sort of a recap, we're going to have some legends in the building. So I was like, all right, it's worth the trip home since, I'm closer to Pittsburgh now. But yeah, got there, exceeded expectations like the match card leading up. But overall, it was good. It was some big names. I wish a little more, so a little bit more wrestling, but that's all right. You can kind of expect them at these shows, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's cool that it's at Wells Fargo. I think it's close enough for both of us. We could just, it's no big deal on a Monday night. Go over there. It was January 24th.
Sure.
Of this year. The attendance, a sellout, 16,957. WWE announced that among episodes that has taken place in the U.S. Of Raw's 30-year anniversary, it generated the most money from ticket sales in all of its history, which is pretty crazy and pretty cool. The card, like you said before, was awesome, and everything that they promoted made me really want to go, and it was cool, and we'll get into this. But before I do, dude, we haven't talked all that much. You're a wrestling fan. I'm a wrestling fan. We're part of that community, right? Tell me a little bit, dude. And I'm not going to go into the whole Mount Rushmore deal, the iconic Mount Rushmore.
Sure.
But tell me, man, maybe give me your top 5 guys that maybe your all-time favorites, and then tell me some guys that you really like right now.
I guess, all-time growing up, born in 96, so brother 4 years older than me, so watching some stuff I probably shouldn't have at a young age, but that Attitude Era classic, obviously growing up with that, but funny, now it's so accessible for us and at the age where we can afford to do what we want. But obviously back then, pay-per-views, my parents were not dishing that money out for that, unless it was, a special occasion. Lucky for me, Royal Rumble is always my birthday weekend. So that was that was the go-to present every year. But I'd probably say all time for me, I go with Stone Cold at the one spot. Everything with him, man. I got when I was a little bit younger, I got 316 tattoos.
No shit.
On the bird, yeah.
That is awesome.
Just had to.
Hey,
when I was allowed to start making my decisions, just had to make a big time decision like that,
1 for 1. That's awesome.
But yeah.
I'm gonna have to go do that tonight. We have to cut this podcast short.
We might have to. So that's the number 1. Rocky at number 2. The great one. Just made me excited to tune in every week.
Yeah, definitely our era.
Yeah, and the legendary battles that they had. Their first Mania was Philly, right?
Yeah. Their first main event, right? Yeah. What would the arena have been at WrestleMania 15? Would it be? I don't know. It's now the Wells Fargo Center or whatever.
It wasn't Wells Fargo. It wasn't Wachovia either. I forget what they
before
called
that.
It. And it was because it was
probably 98. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
99, something
88,
like that.
90, yeah, 90, yeah, that sounds familiar. But those two, I mean, the battles they had, tough to beat. Um, Three spot, I'd probably go with Foley. I just loved how diverse. I mean, he could just bounce around from character to character. And the crowd was always going to back him. He always had the
Yeah,
good
man.
things going for him. Uh, it's tough, but to admit, but I mean, Cena. When we grew up, it was tough because
Hell
I
yeah,
definitely
man.
was watching wrestlers a little longer than it was. I feel like I had a little break, in my teenage years where it wasn't cool to be watching wrestling like that. But Cena always reeled me back in. It made I always want to tune in for him.
Yeah,
Uh,
Cena was. I mean, I think he is like so underrated, actually, of a worker and a performer. And I always think about this, like if you put him in the Attitude Era, or even smack him into the picture today, I think his
sure,
character, if he has a little more freedom, where he's not making so much money with the younger generation, which is great, and it changed the business. But if he's able to not to turn heel or nothing, but to has a
sure,
little more freedom with these guys, I think
sure.
for us purists and the demographic that we are, we would enjoy him much more because he was such a great stick man and great in the ring.
Sure, sure. I mean, it's the pops that guy got. You just don't come across that. You don't.
Yeah,
The
I
way he
always think of
makes the
him at
crowd
One Night
feel.
Stand when he wrestled Rob Van Dam for the
Sure,
title, and it was
sure.
just like that was electric, and that
Yeah,
was, I mean, Van Dam was their guy, but a lot of that was Cena.
yeah. Oh, easy, easy. And then obviously Taker.
Hell
Taker's
yeah,
that guy. I mean, the list goes on. You,
yeah,
you
dude.
know what it
No,
is with Taker.
that's huge. I mean, a lot of them the same for me. I always go take uh, Foley. I love him, specifically Cactus Jack, and then I put Flair and I round it out with Sean.
Sure.
So let's get into Raw, dude. I mean, speaking of legends, we had Sean, we had Taker. The Taker spot was crazy. Uh,
Yeah,
Angle
that
coming
was
out with
crazy.
DX is hilarious. Love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
We've seen it a million times, but I still love their segments. Triple H is so underrated, funny. Had a little Teddy Long action, X Pac. We had some cool stuff backstage. DDP made an entrance, so I'm cool with that. Get that little
That was
bang in
great.
there. Little weird with the steel cage, how it kind of got
I
like
was
folded
so
at the end.
disappointed. I was
Yeah,
so disappointed with
well, it's
that.
weird how they the WWE would advertise the steel cage and then really not do it.
Right, and like literally the hassle of like getting that in the arena, like hoisting it, like that is not an easy task. Like, a lot of like manual labor hours go into that, so it's kind of crazy. Like they went through all that effort just for that spot.
Yeah,
And then
I want to
now
say
they're gonna do
something
it
happened where
again.
they. Oh, I don't know. Are they? I haven't heard anything on the internet on why they pivoted or what. I can't believe that was the plan.
Sure.
But yeah, weird. Uh, and then of course the main event we had Austin Theory defending against Bobby Lashley. Dude, I don't know about you, but Bobby Lashley. If you're listening, Bobby Lashley, you suck, dude.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's
and
rough.
and Brock comes out to the huge pop at the end, and they set up
Sure.
that rivalry, or whatever. But let's talk about it, man. The Bloodline segment in the beginning. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I just love everything they have going on with
Yeah,
with the Sammy integration. Like it really, like the faction scene, like that's changing it. Like it's
yeah,
a different react. Like if you love it or hate it, you are really still locked in when that's coming on. And truthfully, like I've a good friend of mine, like he is only tuning in when he knows, Roman and the Bloodline are going to be on, which
yeah,
sets up when Sammy's going to be on, which sets up when Kevin Owens is going to be on. So that's that's getting eyes and that's getting butts and seats, which is the goal at the end of the day. But you know, uh, I love Kevin Owens. I'm a huge KO guy. So
yeah.
him getting after the bloodline, great for me. But what did you think?
I loved it, man, and I mean it's true. I went with a buddy of mine that hasn't really been watching the product, but when that segment was taking place, it was so entertaining that he was locked in too. I think you had guys like Taker and LA Knight and Bray and Shawn and Rick and all those guys, but Sami effing Zayn stole the show, dude. And
like
that whole story was so well done up until that point, and we'll get into it as we watch the Rumble this past weekend. But yeah, so well done. Paul Heyman is so good. They can do no wrong.
yeah, especially in Philadelphia. Like, especially we were there for Extreme Rules. Like,
yep.
we knew what to expect with Paul Heyman, and
he's getting the ECW chance.
Sure, I mean, there's nothing he can't do, and he's going to get ECW chance in Philly, and so him and Sammy rocked that crowd, but you knew that coming into the show.
Yeah, and Paul gets the ECW chance, and then turns it on the crowd and says ECW's dead, and just like I wish all y'all are dead, or something like that. He's so good.
Just out of
but
pocket,
yeah,
perfect,
but yeah, great
perfect.
show overall. Definitely glad I went there live. Was awesome. And let's throw a little history lesson on you, man. I mean, Monday Night Raw, we saw the 30th anniversary. The first one took place January 11th of 1993 in the Manhattan Center in New York. The first match to go live on Monday Night Raw, Yokozuna defeats Koko Beware in just under 4 minutes. Yoko was accompanied by, of course, Mr. Fuji. And then we had a tag team match. The Steiner brothers defeat the Executioners in 3 minutes. Then we had Shawn Michaels defeating Max Moon for the Intercontinental Championship, which was, I know, a little bit later, maybe 94, 95. I think the Intercontinental Championship was such a big deal, and I like how we're getting back to that in today's product with Gunther holding it. Yeah,
sure. People, a lot of reviews of loving Gunther, and especially the spot this weekend at Royal Rumble and how he played. But yeah, I think it's great making that more relevant again because it's important. It has a rich history, like you were saying.
Yeah, even though I've heard stories of Vince back in the day, or even today, no one cares about the Intercontinental Championship. God damn it, whatever. But we'll see, dude. I do. I like it.
Sure.
And then, of course, the first main event of Monday Night Raw, The Undertaker with Paul Bearer defeats Damian DeMonto in 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So, yeah, that was the first Monday Night Raw. We weren't born. And then we're there live for the 30th anniversary. That was cool. Before we get to the Rumble, dude, of course, all the history or the news with Jay Briscoe passing away. I wanted to touch on AEW's Dynamite this past Wednesday. The main event specifically, they throw Mark Briscoe out there, the brother of Jay, and he takes on Jay Lethal. A big tribute, a big time moment for those guys. Have you ever seen the Briscoe brothers perform live?
I have, yeah. Somewhat recently. I was at the Flair's final match down in Tennessee.
That's right.
And they were there. That was, a classic match. So such a shame. But I can't remember a time we've seen that much emotion in a match that, I think, at the end of the day, we all could admit it's not the most relevant title right now. It's not, the most, craziest storyline, but a lot of people are tuning in. I definitely am tuning in. I know you are too, but I haven't seen that much emotion in a match, and
yeah,
I don't know, ever maybe.
Yeah, and let alone that the match was great, but I just think it's great that we have so much TV time for wrestling that they were able to televise a moment like that. Maybe back in the day we wouldn't have been able to see that live, so it's cool that we can do that now. And I remember my first kind of independent show was House of Hardcore, the old ECW arena back in like 2017, 2018. And the Briscoe brothers were there and they were huge then. I certainly remembered them, which means something.
Sure.
And I was just listening to Cody Rhodes on a podcast. He was on Impulsive. And he was saying how Jay Briscoe really was ROH or Ring of Honor. So a tough loss for the wrestling business. Another one up there, sitting around the table, probably up there with Dusty Rhodes and all, having a couple beers or whatever. But let's go to the Rumble, dude. So this is the the Monday Night Raw that we saw was also part of the go home week for the 36th Royal Rumble. It took place on January 28th at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. The attendance 51,338. And man, I don't like when they do this, dude. They let off with the men's Rumble. What are your thoughts on that? First off.
Yeah, I was definitely sick because I was out to dinner, like assuming that.
Me too. Me too.
Right. And I thought I had enough playtime, and I was just like, well, it's all right if I miss, a couple things that weren't the Rumble. I assumed it would be the Rumble and then, Roman and Kevin, or vice versa. Either way, it probably can't go wrong. Depends, which direction they were going with it. But to lead it off, I was like, oh my goodness. And I was literally at dinner, had to hustle home. Luckily, not that far. But it's like, oh my God, what are we up to?
I know. I walk in the door of my apartment and I turn the TV on and Kate's like in our room or whatever. And I'm like, they started with the Rumble. What the hell? And she's just like, what are you who am I with? Some nerd or whatever, but it's all right. But yeah, of course, Cody Rhodes eliminates Gunther at the end to go over. I'll give you my thoughts on the Rumble, man. I mean, maybe it's, I saw your tattoo on the finger. We're in San Antonio, Texas here. I don't know why, but I get excited. I think I might see an Austin pop. I might see Rock. There's been plenty of talk about that. Sure. I love the Rumble for the surprise entrances and those big moments, and I just didn't get that from this year. And I really thought I was going to get some big moments. So to me, kind of a lackluster Rumble all in all. But I will say I was happy with the finish, even though I thought it was a little predictable. Sure. I did think Cody should go over. And I will say another guy that really got over was Gunther.
Sure.
His performance this year was unreal.
Crazy. We really saw his strength and how much he could handle, that much camera time, which was great. But I think you're right. It was pretty lackluster Rumble for me. I thought a really big missed opportunity with Cody Rhodes, and I get they had to play the storyline up of how much of a tough recovery it's been and all that. But I think you have enough playtime before, the next pay-per-view where I think a surprise pop would have definitely, it seems like a layup. And especially if, he needs a little more time on that pec, which I suppose he doesn't since he's literally wrestling, Monday Night Raw following. But, I still think a surprise pop at 30 is, because why are we, surprised with Logan Paul? It just, when I think he's a guy that brings eyes in from a different audience. So It seemed to me, it's just like, well, why wouldn't you advertise Logan Paul's going to be at the Rumble, and then the surprise pop be Cody Rhodes tosses over from 30, he's over, and the crowd goes wild. But that's it seemed to me to be a little easier solution to make the Rumble at least a bit more memorable. But the Logan Paul bit was good, I guess.
I agree, dude. And I'm from that old school mentality of the Rumbles when you make those big returns. It's like, I hate when they spoil it. Like they did it with Goldberg back in the day. They do it with Batista back in the day. It's like, don't tell me that they're going to be there. Let me suspect it, and then when it happens, I'll pop for it. I don't like when I do that. So I agree with you, man. And I think you hit the nail on the head. So many big names that could have been announced or that were rumored that it was almost like maybe, I don't know, we didn't get them. So it's just, I don't know.
Yeah, a bit underwhelming.
But the finish was good.
Yeah, good finish. I guess the surprise of the night, I guess for me was like Booker T.
I mean, I was in.
Yeah, I'm in, but it's just like, how much? It was just more, let me see a spinneroonie real quick. And
I was sitting here at the house. I was like, let me see that spinneroonie.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. I don't know. Plus, it was the first Rumble that Triple H was involved. I thought, like, all right, dude, we're gonna see some like Matt Cardonas. We're gonna see some.
We're up for a good night of surprises.
Yeah, and I just didn't get it, but it is what it is, and maybe everything has to be led to WrestleMania, which I get that, but I think the Rumble is such a big event in itself that you could do some go home stuff, you could do some payoffs and all that. But we'll move on to the second match of the night. Bray Wyatt defeats LA Knight by it says pinfall. Was it pinfall or was it? It was pinfall, right? Whatever. I'm a podcaster.
Yeah.
He defeats LA Knight in the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. Mountain Dew probably paid big money for this. I'm a big fan of LA Knight. I like his shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the Pitch Black match, I didn't get what I thought I would or was expecting or wanting. I didn't get I don't know. Again, maybe a little underwhelming.
Yeah. I don't know. It was, it's just they didn't hit the nail on the head for it. I heard that, I could be wrong about this, but I heard the visibility for the people at Alamo Dome was like miserable, and they
Really?
could not see it. Yeah. So I don't know how true that is, but I think I saw like one video on Twitter. But yeah, the match didn't do it for me. The ending, cool, whatever. We're continuing that storyline. I know some people liked it, but nothing there for me really.
Yeah, I whatever. I'm sure they'll do some cool things with Bray. I don't think I didn't like it. And then I did see some people commenting instead of Uncle Howdy, it was Uncle Hardy. I like that. I dig that. That was funny.
Good.
But then we had Bianca Belair defeating Alexa Bliss again. I don't know. Predictable. Kind of a dud to me.
Yeah.
I feel like Dave Meltzer right now. I feel I'm just boo-boo facing everything, but I got to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, 7 minutes of kind of fluff. Nothing great for me.
And then we got the flash of the Bray Wyatt deal there at the end, but we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
And then Rhea Ripley wins the Royal Rumble. She entered number 1, defeats Liv Morgan. Predictable. Big fan of Rhea Ripley. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
When I was putting together picks for this and like thinking of what I was going to predict, I was like, I'm not going to pick Rhea and Cody because it's too predictable, and that's what they did. I don't know.
Yeah.
Iffy.
Yeah. It's tough, but Nia Jax came in that match. She did like three of the women already. It's just like, oh my
really?
God.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So yeah, she already injured 3 people. So I'm like, what do you do with her? Because now the stars aren't going to want to work with her. No one wants to do that. So,
jeez, Nia Jax and Bobby Lashley going to be the 2 worst enemies of the Big Time podcast
of the locker. Yeah.
And then I'm interested to hear what you have to say about this. Being a wrestling fan in your own right, the main event: Roman Reigns defeats Kevin Owens via pinfall. 19 minutes and 15 seconds. He retains his undisputed straps. What'd you think of the match, Dave? And then, of course, the turn from Sami Zayn on Roman there at the end of the show.
The turn obviously so huge. We've finally been waiting for weeks and weeks. You knew the balloon was going to pop, but more air. And then, it finally happened. Sami finally couldn't take it. And I think they definitely did a really cool job of splitting up the Usos, so we'll see what they do with that, because I'm pretty sure the SmackDown before, did you catch that? How Sami left with one of the tag team titles?
Oh no, I didn't see Friday, but I know on Monday Sami substituted in and retained.
Right. Oh, that's what I meant. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that, they're gonna set something up there, obviously. So I don't know, but the match itself, I was rooting for KO. I felt like it was a good spot to do the Sami Zayn helps Kevin Owens, and then Kevin Owens is over, the crowd goes crazy. But I think the Bloodline's still gonna, their WWE's gonna run, just keep, if there's nothing wrong, don't change it. I think they're gonna keep rolling with it for now. But I don't know. I guess it's fine. I'm happy with where the storyline's going, but Kevin, huge KO fan, so maybe wish I got that.
Yeah, I hear you. Me too. And I see you're wearing that Lesnar shirt there. Lesnar got a huge pop in the Rumble as well. I thought the match was okay. Again, I thought the turn was underwhelming, man. I'm such a fan of the Royal Rumble that I just have this idea that the Rumble can be a big moment deal.
Sure.
And I get it that it was a big moment. And Sami, they teased the chair shot, and then at the end he did hit Roman. And the pop was crazy. I just thought they just didn't capitalize on how big it could have been. I thought
Yeah.
I thought having the Usos there behind Sammy to like super kick him down, I would have liked to see Sammy be able to get the upper hand a little bit on Roman. I don't know. I don't know exactly how I would have booked it, but it just wasn't. It was like kind of it happened and it was over. I thought they could have drug it out a little. Maybe have. I'm not saying that Roman has to do a job and lose a belt, but make that chair shot, make that turn, make more of an impact to Roman. But we'll see where they go down the line. I know that Jay Uso kind of like withdrew from the bloodline. So we'll see. We'll see where they go. And me saying that, I do know that they're going to get me back. Like, their storytelling's great. So they're going to do some good stuff. It just wasn't – I thought the Rumble or the turn could have been bigger. That's all.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, my first Rumble experience was I went in 04. So, I saw Benoit, 1 to 30. So I expect a huge Royal Rumble every year.
Where was that? Where was that Rumble? Was it in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I was in
Philadelphia.
Nice. Yeah, so I've been to a couple now because it seems to have come to Philadelphia quite a few times.
Were you at the one in 15 when
yeah.
Roman went over with The Rock? Yeah, okay, me too.
Yeah, I think that's what this shirt's from. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I definitely I agree with you. I kind of wish. It was, you knew it was coming, so it was just a matter of, all right, how are they going to do it? And they did it, and we were like, okay, like I'm still going to watch. But I agree with you. I think especially all night, because of like how, we were saying some of it was underwhelming. Like we were waiting for this crazy moment. I made the best of it, obviously, and I think everyone in the crowd. That's why they went crazy, was because they had that energy. But I'm with you. I think they could have heightened it a little more.
Yeah, and one more thing on the main event. It was Roman is so freaking over, and obviously you have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who have been independent wrestlers and they've been in the business forever. Even though I didn't like the first 4 segments, the first 4 matches of the Rumble, I knew that the main event was going to carry me, and I guess it did a little bit. And all that boo-booing around from me, man, the WWE still generated a huge live gate, $7.7 million for the gate. The viewership for the event was up 52% versus the previous Rumble. The old cock, the Peacock subs, roughly doubled since last year. Speaking of the Peacock, we also saw Pat McAfee come back. That was awesome.
Hell yeah.
I'm a huge fan of him, dude. And their merch sales up 135% from last year's Rumble, and their sponsorship nearly 200%. So, dude, it's taken off. Wrestling's back.
So back.
And we're on the road to WrestleMania. It's already the biggest live gate, the biggest WrestleMania of all time. They really haven't announced. I guess they announced 2 matches now. We're going to get Charlotte and Rhea, and we're going to get Cody and Roman for the main events. But the rest of the stuff hasn't been announced. But a couple things could be set up, right? I mean, Logan Paul and Ricochet, they had that great spot, but then Logan eliminates Seth. I'm a fan of Logan Paul in the WWE. I think he does some cool shit. I have the opinion that he goes in there and he actually works his ass off. So I respect that as a wrestling fan. I'll let him in. I'll let him in that family. I'm cool with it.
Yeah. I'm all in on letting Logan, be the celeb wrestler, because it is what it is, and to be honest, he is hell of a wrestler, and credits given where it's due. He's every time I've wanted to dislike him, he just proves me wrong in the ring, and he's he can work the mic too. So
hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. So, dude, we're going to flash it back. We're going to hit a little watch along here. Certainly the peak of my childhood in 2002. I always say that I think the best overall year of wrestling was 1997. I think WCW, the WWF at the time, so hot and battling back and forth, and just both rosters were crazy. But for me, I thought 2002 was the peak of my fandom. I loved that year. I loved all the characters and the superstars that were in there at that time. And this is what this podcast is all about, dude. We're going to sit down, laugh a little bit, and have fun looking back in our childhood. and we're going to flash it back to October 7th of 2002, Monday Night Raw. We're going to stay on that Monday Night Raw train. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's Raw Roulette. Okay, so it's spin the wheel, make the deal. Eric Bischoff, the on-screen talent. The gist of the whole night is he's going to spin the wheel there in Vegas, and whatever it pops up, that'll be the match type. So we're going to watch along for the main event here, which was a 4-way tables, ladders, and chairs match. We had Van Dam and Hardy versus Jericho and Christian versus Bubba and Spike versus the champs, Kane and the Hurricane. Can you remember? I know I threw this match out to you as we were putting this thing together, and you pretty quickly were on board about it. You remember watching this live, or if you have you ever seen it?
No, I definitely didn't watch it live. I was definitely I probably watched episodes near it, but I don't think I remember this one. Sometimes when I was younger, obviously just fell asleep so early. But during
I do that now. I'm normally asleep now.
Seriously, big nap guy.
I was like, can I do the podcast at 8 a.m? Someone told me about my old ass.
No, but I think during my during college, I would like binge watch a lot of Raw, like during class, like as I'm doing homework, it's just throwing it on, just keeping up with the storyline, and I eventually came across it, and this episode specifically, like, is a banger. Like,
yeah,
there's some heavy hitters, and there's like some of the storylines, a lot of funny stuff going on, but some like great wrestling and some like huge names for a Monday night.
Huge names and crazy match types, but really crazy main event. You're going to put a TLC, and as we watched along, they did not tone it down at all. This is pay-per-view level. This is WrestleMania TLC level stuff.
Easily.
So, man, if you're ready, dude, I'm ready. We got 1 hour, 8 minutes, and 20 seconds into the Monday Night Raw on October 7th of 2002. Raw Roulette, spin the wheel, David Reick in the building. Are you ready?
Let's do it, brother.
All right, so I'm going to hit the little countdown, 1, 2, 3, and on 3 we'll play. You ready, bro?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, play. Thanks for doing this, dude. I appreciate it.
Of course, brother.
So on the old Peacock, we see Van Dam, one of my all-time favorites, coming out, making his entrance. And I always like watching the entrances. I think it's part of the whole package. And then we see the tag straps there hanging. And I always say, dude, I don't know how you feel about, or what, genre or of wrestling you like the most. But for me, I always say old school. I like the Gunthers of today. I like the Bret Harts. I like the Shawns. I like the guys that make their stuff look very believable. But I got to admit, all my favorite matches are TLCs and street fights and hardcore matches. So I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just, and I'm the same exact way, and I think that's why I love the Rumble so much, is because, like, I have a shorter attention span. So if you keep reeling it back in with, big stunt after big stunt or big name after big name,
right?
You can't lose my attention. So obviously these guys are legends. Some of my favorite matches, especially the Dudleys. I mean, that's
hell yeah.
But what I love about this match is just literally how, it's like almost none of those tag teams were like super long. Obviously, Bubba and Spike, it was never them.
Right.
It's Devon and Bubba all the time, and it's Jeff and Matt. But, I thought the versatility of swapping guys out and putting, RVD with Jeff, just so sweet. And they can still perform at this level, with 4 different guys in the ring and on the outside, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. We got Christian and Chris Jericho, 2 guys that are in AEW now making their entrance. And, yeah, I mean, you never think of them as a great tag team. You never think of Rob Van Dam and Hardy being together.
Right.
Remember some matches of them facing each other. They both have similar minds for the business and how they put together matches. But, yeah, you're right, dude. I mean, it was just what was going on and so much talent on the roster that magic was bound to happen. So the lead off of this card, Booker T defeats the Big Show in a steel cage, as you still see that hanging above the straps there. And I love the look of the old school Monday Night Raw with the tables, ladders, and chairs hanging.
Oh yeah.
everything. And I also love, as we see Y2J making his entrance, the announce table up there near the stage. I always love that too.
Yeah, that's iconic.
And then we had Triple H defeating D'Lo Brown in a blindfold match. What's your favorite blindfold match? I bet you didn't prep for that question.
I didn't.
Don't.
I guess this one.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly right. Then we had William Regal defeats Goldust in a Las Vegas Showgirl match, which was my favorite Las Vegas Showgirl match of all time. We had Trish Stratus and Stacy in a bra and panties paddle on a pole match, which is right up WCW Eric Bischoff's alley.
Oh yeah.
We had Al Snow beat Tess in a street fight. Jerry Lawler pinned Stevie Richards, Big Daddy Stevie Richards, that is, in a Legal in Nevada match, which I didn't watch, so I don't know what's going on there. And then throughout the show, right before the main event, we saw a segment where Flair and Triple H are backstage, and they're kicking, putting the boots to Hurricane. It's Kane's partner. So Kane is going to come out alone here, as you see. And Kane and Hunter would go on to have a storyline or continue their storyline, after this event. But Kane's going to go it alone and try to defend both straps.
And I'm pretty sure with the storyline, they were going in the direction of Kane was trying to get every single title this night. So I'm pretty sure he had the tag team. Yeah, the tag team was before this. And then he was supposed to, maybe he won this. Did he win this Rumble? And he was supposed to take
this
on
year?
Hunter for the belt? Yeah.
2002 Rumble was won by Triple H when he returned. That's when he made that big. So this is later in the year.
So I'm pretty sure he was somehow they kept hyping up like he was going from all the belts and he was going to.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think he might have just lost the Intercontinental strap or something like that, or something. But yeah, I think you're right. As we watch Big Bubba take a nice back body drop. As we watch the action, dude, I like picking some fans' brains and guys that have been students of wrestling for a long time. What's your favorite genre of wrestling? Do you like more of the AEW TV style or a live crowd style that we're seeing today? Do you like the hard hitting stuff from the past? What kind of do you enjoy?
I'm the guy. I'm simple to please in terms of wrestling. Like I said earlier, as long as you can keep my attention, I'm all in. Whether that be storyline, whether that be physicality, physique, what it be. But definitely, I love everything going on with AEW right now. I just love how they're more cut to the chase than WWE. There's less kind of fluff and more kind of straight to the point, 20-minute match coming up. Stuff like that. I can truly appreciate because we know the business, we know how it works. But I kind of like more of that fandom and more the New Japan shows but obviously huge WWE for life guy. So
I agree, man. And I think. And I was listening to Cody Rhodes. He was just so impulsive, and I really liked what he said about today's wrestling. But then also, he says that wrestling evolves, and the wrestling fan also evolves. So wrestling's got to change too. When guys, he made a remark that Harley Race was the first guy to do as we see the Terry Funk spot here by Bubba. I like how Christian just walks right into it, and Jericho has to get up, take another bump.
Sure.
Kane's going to put a stop to that, I'm sure, with that big boot.
Unreal.
But yeah, Harley Race is the first guy to take the big back body drop, right? And guys back then were saying, you can't do that every night. Don't do that, man. Less is more, less is more. And then Harley's a 7-time champ. I fall into that where I like the less is more deal. I'm such a huge fan of the storylines and the good guy, the bad guy, the guy I want to win or want to bet on to win.
Sure, and that's why I'm a big Cody Rhodes guy. I think he said you hadn't watched the most recent Raw from last night, but Cody literally came out last night and during his segment, he won the Rumble. Obviously, he was just like, oh, like just because I won the Rumble doesn't mean like I'm taking all this time off. He's like, I want a match tonight. And I was just like, I
Right.
can appreciate that. Like a
I
guy
did
that's gonna
catch
still
that.
work up to the storyline and actually do work, and because it's a shame if you think about it. You're like, oh, after the Rumble, I won't. If I have a ticket in Philadelphia to Monday Night Raw, I'm not going to see Cody Rhodes wrestle. He might talk
Right.
to Mike, but so I can appreciate that. But like you said, I think I can just appreciate good work. So
Yeah, no, and that's music. That's the gospel right there. Because I think sometimes we get a little too boo-boo face about it, and I know I do sometimes too. It's like, dude, if the crowd's reacting, the crowd's making noise, let them react. You're doing it right. I think there's more ways than just the old school way to do this.
sure.
But I just like when there is some story. I don't want to just have a cold match of two guys going out there. But I like how both companies are really developing into putting more emphasis on some storylines, getting some guys in some big time matches on pay-per-views or what have you that have a lot of buzz going on. And I think, the WWE got so stale and AEW came in and really shook the world up. And I think right now we're seeing the WWE get better, which caused AEW now to get a little better. And I think their production's gone up. I think we're at a really good time in wrestling, man. We have the MJFs and the Bryan Danielses, and then we have the Sammys and the Codys and the Seths and all those guys. There's so much talent out there. And I'm happy that there's so much wrestling.
Yeah, I'm definitely on the same page as you. It's great to see them both having to give their best every week, or else
Yeah.
It's a sink or float situation. So I'm definitely with you. I love what's going on right now with AEW.
Me too. Have you been to some of their live shows too, or their pay-per-views?
Yeah, they're
brutal bump by Kane on the outside. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Was just at Full Gear as well, and it's a great show. They've always done a great job for the live crowd.
Yeah, they've and even when their venues are a little more humbling than the huge arenas and stuff like that, they really play into that, and they make sure that the roof comes off the building those nights.
Yeah. My favorite type of wrestling is kind of the independent style, the smaller room or the kind of blacked out crowd or whatever. I love that. As we see Rob Van Dam, look at this. Nice spot.
Yeah.
Nice spot by RVD. As we see Kane selling it well on the table.
That table looks like it's already about to snap.
That thing was bought at Tables R Us, son. And now we see Jeff about to do what he does best. Brutal chair shot to the fucking belly button of Kane, huh? God damn it.
Look at this table. It's bending. But, Jeff has to there was a chair moment without Jeff, so he's got to steal the spotlight back.
Hell yeah. He's got to get that Hardy spot, man. He was so good. One of my favorites of all time. Really the guy that made me fall in love with wrestling. Look at this.
Sure.
Monday Night Raw. Bang. Nice spot.
Yeah, that's big of a spot at Monday Night Raw. I wonder what the price of admission was this night. I really wonder how much it costs to get in the door.
That's a good question. I know. I think tickets were going on sale for $500 near the front rows. I'm sure the very front was over. It was big time money.
Sure.
But and of course that. Have you seen the lime green shirt guy with the tan hat that is at every pro wrestling event, big time pro wrestling event?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he was in Philly. The first thing I saw, that son of a bitch. Lives the life I want to live.
Seriously.
This match would get 4.25 stars by Dave Meltzer, by the old Seltzer train. He hit the nail on the head with this, man. This is a great match. And some fun spots, fun stuff. As we go to a commercial break, obviously here on the network, we're not going to have to see that, but we got Bubba, big chop to Rob Van Dam.
Huge.
And here we go. We're going to continue on with this thing. So I asked you your favorite, blindfold match. Of course, that wasn't a real trivia question, but I do have some trivia here for you. It's the Rumble trivia. Let's see how many of these you can get, man. So it wasn't – are you ready? for some Rumble trivia.
I hope. We'll see.
Yeah. So it wasn't until 1993 that the Rumble was guaranteed, that the winner was guaranteed a world title match at WrestleMania. But it started before that, the history of the Rumble. Do you know whose idea it was that actually pitched the idea of the Royal Rumble?
You're gonna have to give me some sort of a clue here, man. I mean,
His first letter of his first name starts with a P. He was a backstage guy for Vince for a long, long time. They always said he was a great finish guy.
no, I don't know.
I think he was the first Intercontinental Champion of all time, too. I could be wrong there. Big time listeners, let me know, but it was Pat Patterson. It was Pat Patterson's idea for the Rumble. So I have him to thank for my favorite pay-per-view of the year. And as you probably know, Hacksaw Jim Duggan was the first winner of the Rumble. What you might not know is the amount of entrants that there were in the first Royal Rumble of all time.
15?
Close. It was 20.
12.
It was 20.
20
okay. For the first Rumble.
Okay.
As we see Christian setting up the ladders. I love how they do these sell jobs where it's like they either walk up the ladder they just turned 98,
Right.
supposedly. And then next thing you know, they're jumping off the top rope.
Like the ladder's that difficult to climb.
Yeah. And they got to keep looking up. Oh, the title's still up there. Okay.
Yeah, still
Let me
up
take
there.
another step.
How do I? How do I climb? I've never undone a title before. How does it come apart?
What do you think of Chris Jericho, man? His career and then still going today. What do you think of him today?
Still going. Chris, let's hang it up soon because I love you so much, man. You give me more time on a top 5. A guy like Jericho comes to mind. He is the real deal. Has been the real deal. I mean, he was great this pay-per-view as well, and I love that the reason he and Christian are together is because they both hate Edge right now.
Yeah.
I think that's electric. I love that. But Jericho, I mean, he's great, and everything he did to at least get AEW start moving and everything, just the greatest. But I had to rock my Raw is Jericho shirt the other night.
Oh, that's badass.
30th anniversary. I had to, but love Jericho, man. That's the GOAT.
Hell yeah, dude! I love his stuff. He's so funny and so clever on the mic. He can get anything over, truly. But I'm with you, man. I don't need to see him taking crazy bumps no more.
Yeah.
But
he should just do the full-time podcast or something. He should just let his body heal from all these years of beatings after beatings. But
it's crazy. He's one of those guys that has never really gotten crazy. I don't know. I'm sure he has some bumps and bruises, but
sure. Him
and Flair, man, are like the only guys that they say have wrestled that long that haven't had crazy injuries. I don't know what it is.
Crazy. Yeah. I don't know, but maybe that's why we love him, because we've seen him do so much. He doesn't. Yeah. He hasn't taken years and years off like everyone else, but Jericho's great, man. Some of my favorite mic segments all time.
Hell yeah!
Oh my gosh, as RVD's about to do this, RVD and Jeff.
So many iconic spots from these guys in this match.
The
coast to coast. And if Van Dam was listening to that, he would hate me. I called it coast to coast. That was the Van Terminator in the old ECW days, I believe. So
is that what it was? Yeah.
And then, of course, Shane McMahon would come and mock it and turn it to coast or whatever. But crazy spot. Van Dam still wrestling here, doing independent shows. So.
He's a crazy man, but we know how he likes to recover. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's never been too shy about all that, but something I'm not shy about is my opinion on this. This is more of an opinionated question. I think you'll still get it. I hope you do. Same year. Okay, this question's about the 2002 Rumble. Who had, in my opinion, and I think everyone's opinion, the greatest dropkick elimination in Rumble history? Can you name the guy?
I know the spot, but I cannot put a face to it.
So who did he eliminate? You know the spot.
I can't.
The big guy, big dude, big Undertaker comes out. He's business picks up. He makes the couple eliminations. He's making big spots. Tough Enough winner Maven comes in and hits that drop kick. Yeah, man. So it's funny. I met Maven in Allentown at a signing, and he's actually a really cool dude. Yeah, really cool dude. And I bought a picture of the Undertaker, and he signed it greatest drop kick ever. So that question's a shout out to you, Maven. If you're watching, what up, dude? Tell your buddy Bobby Lashley, don't whip my ass. This question
for a big one here.
Yeah, nice suplex.
Great.
God, crazy bump.
Yeah,
we're gonna get the over the ceiling shot here of that replay. I can remember that, as I'm a wrestling nerd. There's a sign in there that says Halloween is Jericho. Okay.
Okay. Here's that shot.
Look at this. Subway Eat Fresh, baby. Nice. I love a superplex too. One of my favorite spots.
Who doesn't?
Kurt Angle's mystery opponent, man, at the 2000 Rumble in Madison Square Garden, making his debut. Who made their WWF debut against Kurt Angle? It was a mystery entrant.
Kurt Angle. It wasn't Jericho, was it?
Wasn't Chris Jericho. It was from ECW. A guy making his debut. It was Taz. Taz comes in, gets that huge mega pop from the MSG crowd.
Huge. Yeah.
And handed Kurt Angle, which I think would be like reverse or something. But I think it was via Taz Mission or rear naked choke. I forget what Taz would call his finish. But handed Angle his first loss of his career.
That is great.
Here's a dumb shot in the dark. What year did Drew Carey participate in the Rumble? Do you remember this?
Was this 2000?
Close. 2001. 2001. Yep.
That is great. Yeah.
And I think he debuted when Kane was in the ring.
Came in, he backed away and exited himself. Hilarious.
As we see Chris, look at this bump. Good Lord.
Goodness. That's actually, wow.
Dude, can you imagine like putting that match together and saying, yeah, just toss me over, Spike?
No.
Like just
no.
Like, good Lord. Crazy spot.
Too close to those stairs. Man.
That would have killed
That's
me.
why we love him.
Pound for pound, baby. Spike Dudley. I used to love his stuff in ECW.
Is that right? It was funny. His the storyline for him being with Bubba tonight was Devon's out for whatever reason, and who did he walk? Do you remember this spot? Who did he walk? Who was he with in the locker room?
Spike?
It was Spike was with hardcore ECW guy, Tommy Dreamer. He was sitting next to Tommy Dreamer. And Bubba Ray is just like, all right, boys, like tag team tonight. Tommy, you ready to go? And he daps him up, and Spike's sitting there pouting, and Bubba goes, what's wrong, Spike? And Spike's like, for years I watched you and Devon. I thought it would finally be my time to shine. And he like looks at he looks at Dreamer, and Dreamer gives him the nod, and he like daps up his right.
The hometown kid.
Ridiculous. Yeah.
He's so happy to be in the match, and now we see him get dumped into a table.
Yeah.
I love it.
He really he wishes he didn't speak up at this moment, but damn.
That's funny. Yeah, Spike would go up against guys like Mike Awesome, which was like a 7-foot giant in ECW for the world title. And Paul was so good at booking that stuff that you like were like, Spike might win this.
It could have went either way with Paul.
And Spike would do those crazy crowd dives where you get tossed from the ring into the front row, and then they crowd surf around. ECW is great.
Unbelievable. Unreal.
As we're getting to the finish of this match, dude, I got one more trivia for you, okay?
All right, man.
Who was the tallest wrestler in the 1991 Rumble, billed at 6'10"? Dude,
91?
And dude, looking at this thing I put together, I'm a straight dick. Like a Drew Carey question.
Oh, look at this one.
And now, tallest entrant in the 91 Rumble. Who you thinking?
Tallest entrant in the 91 Rumble. It's 6'10".
Don't overthink it, though. I will say that.
91?
Don't overthink it. We saw him last Monday. Big 5-star for all his best. We saw him last Monday. He came out.
Hulkster?
No. He came out and he
6'10"?
interrupted LA Knight. Came out on the old motorcycle.
Yeah, on Taker was 91.
Taker, 1991. Made the look at this big spot by Jeff Hardy.
Huge.
Good Lord.
On a Monday night.
On a Monday night, yeah.
Ridiculous.
And the first podcast, nice spot by Van Dam, iconic. Bubba, look at Bubba selling. Like, I did my first podcast, Big Time podcast, with my buddy Alex, who's not a wrestling fan, and we watched TLC from WrestleMania 17, maybe my all-time favorite match of all time.
Okay, hell yeah.
And I mean, he was just in awe of this stuff, and he was like, "Dude, what do these guys do? I hope they go get like fucked up all night after this." And I'm like, "Dude, what they do is, they get fucked up maybe, but
and then
they get but they get in a car and go to the next town and do this shit again."
Insane, like that, especially like back in this day, like the stories you hear of the lives they live. This is great. This is unbelievable.
The walls of Jericho up on the look at that spot, dude.
My goodness. Oh, Jericho. And the two right guys to do that, by the way. Like the two guys that would nail that. Crowd's
I'm
going
7
crazy.
Big Time Pacioli is 7 years old at the house, just going like crazy.
Were you watching this one live? You remember this one live?
I think I have.
Yeah?
I think I was. I have memories of this. I would always enjoy staying up late and watching this stuff in this era. And Kane was really big at this time too. He just was doing some really cool things. Look at this choke slam off the ladder. Nice spot. Nice bump by Jericho.
The Hurricane.
I really like going back and doing this and like the iconic setup of Kane, of course. Even watching the old school intro in 02 as we were setting this podcast up. Just vintage.
Yeah, just so many great memories of seeing like a classic intro as we look at Kane rising to the top.
Yanks that first strap down, yanks the second, and Kane retains, man, out there by himself.
On top of the world for now.
The crowd going crazy. They knew they saw some crazy shit.
They did, yeah. They, again, definitely the price of admission tonight.
But hell yeah, dude. And we're getting a little surprise.
You don't remember this?
I don't remember this.
No.
How good are these two? Good Lord.
Unreal. On top of the world. You don't remember this? This is not good.
This isn't the Katie Vick thing, is it?
Or
whatever.
Whatever. The girl he killed?
Yeah. Is that what they're setting up right now?
That's what they're setting up.
Good Lord.
Just so ridiculous.
How do you think Vince pitched that? Well, goddamn.
I don't want to know how these things used to get pitched. Like I was like watching this earlier and like getting ready doing my homework, and I saw some of the segments and what they were up to with like the women's scene, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, what?
Oh my goodness. Big
Yeah.
Time Podcast does not sign off on any of that.
Yeah. Well, maybe the bra and panties pole match or whatever that was. Just kidding. Yeah, dude. Triple H is on top of his game here. They're setting up the next event here. Flair's there with him. We're gonna see evolution in years to come. But Dave, man, I appreciate you coming on and doing this for me. It was fun.
This was great.
Yeah, man. Thank you, dude. We recapped a real big week of wrestling, and I think it's going to be a huge year of wrestling as we prep for WrestleMania and all that sort of thing. So I'm going to enjoy, hitting you up and seeing what you're doing and, watching this stuff with you and seeing what your thoughts are. But yeah, man, I appreciate you coming on the Big Time Podcast, episode 3, Dave. I appreciate it, man. I hope it was enjoyable. I hope it was fun.
Seriously, this was a good time. We definitely got to do this again. This is great.
Hell yeah. Whenever you want, man. I appreciate it, dude. All right, man. Later on. Stay Big Time.